My talk to start off with is kind of informal in a way to start off with. And I have to say that today I went over to see Connacht's latest garden centre and I was really impressed with it. A really good range of plants. And that's really important if you're a gardener, that you've got a source, you've got a garden centre, somewhere you can go and buy good plants for your garden. Now, are you all keen gardeners? Hands up if you're a keen gardener. Most hands went up. Fantastic, that's great. So you're enthusiastic gardeners, fabulous. In this part of the world, the soil, I should have asked before I got up, but I'm assuming that a lot of it is acidic. Kieran, am I right? Where you are, yeah. So like there'll be a lot of acidic patches where you could grow rhododendrons and camellias and lime haters.
I fold one finger down like that, a second fold, and my third fold I tuck under the second. And then I just give it a little bit of anger for a second. Gardeners shouldn't be angry, but slugs. And there we have our newspaper pot. And the great pots, they last a few months. And the great thing also is when I come to transplant them, the roots are starting to grow from the side of the pot. So I can plant the whole thing into the ground without doing it, without disturbing it. Now, with my runner being like this, it's still a bit early to plant it out. It's growing too quick. So what I'm going to do actually when I get home, I called into the Connacht Gold on the way, and I bought some biodegradable pots made of bamboo. No plastic, so great for the environment. So I'm going to pot these up when I go home, leave them in the tunnel for another couple of weeks until all the danger of frost has passed. And that should give me a good crop for later on in the year.
Gardening seems to be very labour intensive, and the point I'm trying to get to is there are two that spring to mind, three flowers that spring to mind: the daffodil, the snowdrop, and the bluebell.
Yes.
And they come back every year. You don't have to do anything. There's no spraying. There's no this, that, or the other. Are all flowers? Are there any other flowers like that are practically maintenance-free, if you know what I mean?
Loads, really.
Yeah.
And I don't know
this list.
There's lots of things, but lots of herbaceous perennials. They are hardy plants. They get bigger clumps in the garden each year. They come back year after year, and many of them are virtually trouble-free, just like daffodils and things like that. Whereas maybe annuals, you have to replace them each year. But if you get a really good hardy herbaceous perennial, like lots of things like Rudbeckia,
yes,
Echinacea, many asters. Well, some of them are
a lot of the
disease,
old-fashioned things that your grandmother grew, you'll find, are the kind of plants that there may be more modern varieties available now, but they're doers. And it's worth kind of looking at that type of thing and have a go. You know, like the Shasta daisy, the Michaelmas daisy. There are more modern varieties of that available now. So just have a look at kind of familiar old-fashioned things that you know have done well and that you've seen grow in your mother's or grandmother's garden.